36 this morning via air cargo. It arrived in the airport. 2 tons of pine mushrooms will be handed out to the separated families who are not able to reunite with their families in the north yet. 4,000 people, mainly elderlies, were selected, and they will receive around 500 grams of pine mushrooms before Chuseok. President Moon Jae-in sends these messages. North Korea sent us a heartfelt gift of pine mushrooms. The mushrooms are full of fragrance of mountains and streams of the north. I wish it could be of any comfort to the separated families who miss their families and siblings in the north. The day will come when you'll be able to embrace the faces of the missed ones and hug each other, and wish you health until the day comes. So that was the message sent by President Moon Jae-in. North Korea also presented pine mushrooms as gifts to the President Kim Dae-jung and Roh Moo-hyun following the Inter-Korean Summit in 2000 and 2007. This is the end of my briefing. I'll receive questions. Please raise your hand if you have any questions.
쪽에서 안 보이는데요. 수석님께서 한.
I cannot see from here.
질문 있으시면 받겠습니다.
네, 손을 들어주시면. 이쪽에서 안 보이는데요. 수석님께서 한 분 지명해
Cannot
주시죠.
see from here, but would you designate our question?
교통방송 TBS입니다.
I would like to give opportunity to TBS.
네, TBS 교통방송
My name
이강훈
is
기자입니다.
이강훈
오늘
from
진행됐던
TBS.
백두산 방문 현장에서 남북 정상 내외가 산책도 나왔던 모습을 사진을 통해서 우리도 만났었는데요. 어떤 대화가 오갔을지 모두 다 가장 궁금하실 것 같습니다. 이 내용 좀 최대한 전달해 주시면 감사하겠습니다.
If you can share what was discussed between the two leaders, it would be great. I am at a loss because I didn't hear about it either. Our official delegations will arrive shortly, later in the afternoon, and maybe you will have a chance to interview them separately. And that includes our spokesperson, the presidential spokesperson, so maybe you can ask him directly about what kind of dialogue that went on. We will accommodate next question.
마이크 전달해 주시고요.
Please hand over the microphone.
뉴시스 정민아 기자입니다.
I'm 정민아 from USIS.
대통령이 DDP에 방문하실
Is there any plan for President Moon Jae-in to visit Dongdaemun Design Plaza? Nothing is confirmed as of now. As once the plane lands at Seoul base, I'll be able to make a phone call to the President Moon. I will talk to the protocol secretary to the president and ask the opinion of the President Moon. So we are not able to confirm whether President Moon will be coming to DDP as of now. I'm not sure if the plane took off yet. Maybe they are already up in the sky or they are about to take off. Thank you. Let's move toward the middle, please. My name is Park Ji-suk from Asia Today. Chairman Kim sent 2 tons of pine mushrooms. Then, what kind of gift did we give to the North? Could you please tell us the gift that we gave to the North? Well, the gift of the President and the First Lady is not disclosed. That was the custom. At this point, I do not know whether the gifts were exchanged between the two leaders. That, again, could be also checked when the official delegation returns to Seoul. And I believe we will have an opportunity to get back to you on that question.
Prior to this trip to Mount Baekdu, President Moon said that he agrees with Kim that the peninsula should be permanently free from nuclear threats and war. The South Korean leader spoke in front of a large crowd in Pyongyang after watching a massive performance.
오늘 김정은 위원장과 나는 Today, Chairman Kim Jong-un and I agreed on specific measures to remove fear of war and a possibility of armed clashes. I want to propose to completely end 70 years of hostility and take a big step toward peace so we can be together again.
President Moon and I came up with a valuable outcome for developing the North-South relations in a journey towards peace and prosperity.
The two leaders watched the mass game performance on the second day of Moon's three-day trip to Pyongyang. Earlier, Kim pledged to permanently dismantle its key missile facilities in front of foreign experts. Over these past few days, Moon and Kim have hailed a new future for the entire Korean peninsula. The two rolled out a wide-ranging agreement in Pyongyang. In it, the DPRK has agreed to permanently abolish its key missile testing and launch facilities under the eye of foreign experts. Pyongyang also said it is willing to close its main nuclear complex if the United States takes reciprocal actions. But the details of that were not specified. Also, Kim said he hopes to visit Seoul in the near future. He would be the first DPRK top leader to do so. Military heads from the two sides also signed an agreement to reduce military tensions and to create a buffer zone along the border. The two sides will also set up a permanent venue for families divided by the war and start working to connect cross-border roads and railways by the year's end. Both also plan to jointly host the 2032 Summer Olympics. Our correspondent Shane Harm has more on South Koreans' reactions to the summit, as well as to future developments on the Korean peninsula.
I think the reaction largely depends on what your expectations were going into this summit. If you look at simply inter-Korean relations, we saw the two sides sign deals. We saw a comprehensive military deal, an agreement to reconnect rail and road, resume family or normalize family reunions, and even a possible joint bid for the 2032 Olympics. But as far as what President Moon could have done from his perspective was very limited on the denuclearization front. But what we did see was a reaffirmation of Chairman Kim to his commitment to denuclearize. We heard for the first time himself utter that phrase, complete denuclearization, and we got more detail in writing in what is now known as the Pyongyang Declaration, as far as, albeit with a condition that the U.S. would have to have corresponding measures, but we got that in writing. We also saw the DPRK agree to allowing outside inspectors come in to inspect the Dongchangnim engine test site as well as missile launch pad as well. So that's really where the reaction is, and it falls what are your expectations. Well, from a diplomatic standpoint, we know that South Korean President Moon will be traveling to the United States this Sunday to attend the United Nations General Assembly, where he will undoubtedly brief U.S. President Trump on the outcome of this summit. But as far as the reaction from the United States, we saw Secretary of State Mike Pompeo release a statement saying, extending that invitation to his DPRK counterpart, Lee Yong-ho, to meet on the sidelines in New York as well, and also an invitation to meet between the special representatives and nuclear envoys in Austria as well. So we now know that the United States is also willing to get back to the negotiating table to get these stalled talks underway again. And possibly maybe that would lead to a second meeting between President Trump and Chairman Kim. And we also know that in writing in this Pyongyang Declaration that Chairman Kim has indicated a willingness to travel here to South Korea sometime by the end of this year as well.
The DPRK and South Korea successfully signed the Pyongyang Joint Declaration of September 2018 on Thursday. In a move Beijing calls historic, China's Minister of Foreign Affairs Wang Yi congratulated both nations, voicing his support for their progress.
For economic cooperation to take off, we first have to deal with the sanctions. And the Korean government is closely coordinating, has been coordinating with the U.S. and North Korea to denuclearize. And the advancement of the denuclearization will I think, will lead to another environment where further discussions can be made. So inter-Korean relations and the complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, that is our goal. And how those will unfold, in what way, is something that it's very hard to imagine at this point. And about the business leaders being included in the delegation, the North gave us the list of 200, the number 200, and they didn't ask us specifically who to include in that list. They just gave us 200, the number. Many business leaders joined the summit this time, and they were part of the delegation not for short-term visible outcome, but they were part of the delegation to prepare for the new changes that will unfold in the long run. And once the circumstances are met, conditions are met, I'm sure the business leaders will play a very important role. We'll receive last question.
Moving to Arirang TV, please stand up. We will hand over the microphone. Thank you for your briefing. My name is Shin Se-mi from Arirang TV. According to the State Department, and they said there will be ministerial national security meeting in UN. And do you believe that there could be discussion on denuclearization? And in other words, will we be talking about denuclearization as mentioned in Pyongyang Declaration? So do you believe what we achieved on Pyongyang Declaration enough for us to start discussing about relieving sanction on North Korea? Well, personally, I don't have any information on whether we'll be discussing about easing economic sanction on North Korea. North Korea's economic sanction, or is Pyongyang Declaration and the level of denuclearization mentioned there enough to kickstart easing economic sanction? I don't know. I am not in a position to say, but we're moving toward complete denuclearization. We've taken step toward it, and when there is progress made between the U.S. and the North, and if there is practical move forward or denuclearization, then we will be able to face new environment regarding denuclearization. Situation is always evolving and changing. Therefore, we are working very hard and doing our best to create that environment. With that, I would like to conclude my briefing.
I believe that the spirit of peace is coming to Seoul. Once the President Moon leaves Samjiyan Airport, we'll be able to confirm to you. So with that, I'd like to conclude the afternoon briefing session.